Fall's almost here and cattle producers are transitioning over to that change. So Derrell, what are some market trends that you're seeing?
Well, we've been seeing a lot of optimism building in these cattle markets for several weeks now, and I think that certainly will continue through the fall and on into next year. So we're sort of waiting for these things to sort of fully develop this fall. And the other thing, of course, that's really affecting these markets is the feed cost, and so feed grain prices are significantly higher. We're pricing that into feedlot rations, and as a result, we're pricing that into these feeder cattle markets. So, those are some of the major things we're watching going forward.
How should cow-calf producers, approach marketing their calves this fall?
Well, we just said there's a lot of optimism in the market. So I think we're expecting generally higher prices, but there's certainly opportunities to do even better than that in terms of what the average market is. Weaning these calves, preconditioning these calves, now's the time to do that really because, we know we need at least 45 days and it's better. Buyers really prefer 60 or 70 days weaning. So we need to do that. And you might want to think about whether it's worth participating in a preconditioning program like our Oklahoma Quality Beef Network.
So what are the prospects for, shifting over to the stocker producers out there? What are the prospects for fall and winter grazing?
Well, again, the value of gain that we see right now because of those high feed prices and what feedlots are facing, they're wanting to buy bigger cattle. And so we're seeing relatively higher prices for big feeder cattle. So there's an opportunity to increase value by putting on weight. So if you're a stocker producer, buying these calves, now you may be expecting a fall low. Normally we see that seasonally, and that may not happen as much. But on the other hand, if you look at where the futures markets are right now for feeder cattle, there's some decent margin opportunities. So on a broader scale around the country, drought is still a major issue. Much of the country, the West in particular, and the northern plains face serious drought issues. We've seen elevated beef cow slaughter all summer. We know some of that was early culling, and so that may mean that a smaller number of cull cows will be coming to market this fall. They may have been already come to market.
Derrell, we were talking to Paul Beck earlier in the show, and he had mentioned, we were talking about the possibility of armyworms in those dual-purpose wheat fields and the impact that could play. So do producers have their eye, or is the market feeling out that possibility?
Well, that's increasingly been a challenge in recent years, and this year seems particularly bad. To get that early planted wheat and the maximum amount of grazing, there's always that trade-off. And so producers will have to really watch the production aspects of getting wheat pasture established, in particular threats like the armyworms and other pests. But from the economic standpoint, the incentive is there.
All right, thanks, Derrell. Dr. Derrell Peel, Livestock Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.